Thank you for stopping by Ballistic Barbecue. On this video, I am going to be cooking up the bourbon butter bacon charburger. Try saying that 3 times. Let's get going. Very excited about this video because this is my first video for Primo using their Primo round. As you can see, this is not that oval shape we are all used to seeing with the Primo name attached to it, but it's still made in America, super high quality, super versatile, and the very cool thing about this is it's very affordable. Anyway, enough of that. This burger has as a condiment a very, very decadent compound butter. It has a bourbon reduction and roasted bone marrow in the compound. We're going to start off by roasting up those marrow bones. I have the cooker preheated right now to 375. I'll show you how I did that. So I have my cooker set up with a nice fresh batch of lump charcoal. I have a fire starter. We're just going to nestle this in the middle there. So we're going to let this burn about 5 minutes or so until I see that the lump is actually igniting. About 5 minutes have passed. As you can see, that fire starter is completely burned out and we have an independently burning fire now. Go ahead and put that grate in. Now we're going to start adjusting those dampers. Shut the lid. Since the damper on the lid is fully closed right now, let's get this adjusted first. I'm going to take that daisy wheel and open it fully open. Then I'll just take the entire damper disc here and crack it to where we have like a nice little crescent right there. Let's go to the bottom damper. As you can see, we started out with the bottom damper fully open, so we got plenty of draft in there for that fire to start. If I were doing low and slow, I would close this to a finger's width to start with. And of course, the lid damper would be a lot more closed as well. I just like to walk it up very slowly. I'm in no hurry to get that temperature dialed in nice and stable. For this cook, again, we're roasting. We're looking at that 375 to 400 degree range. I'm going to open it about a 2-finger width here. See where that lands. About 20 minutes have passed. As you can see, we're locked in right now, 375. It's been running stable at 375. Clean burned, just beautiful blue smoke coming out of the stack here. And I made 0 adjustments from that initial adjustment. So pretty happy about that. We are ready to cook. So at this temp, we're definitely going to want to burp this cooker. And because I am going to be cooking some bacon along with the bones, I'm going to be using a grill mat just so make it easier on my life here with this bacon. Now you guys know that I started the burn in the dead center, and it's still burning in the dead center. So I'm putting the bacon strips, and this is actually 2 slices of bacon that I've cut in half. And I'm putting the bacon on the outside edges so we won't get some major flare-ups here when the drippings go down there into the fire. So again, these are not over the burning coals. And here are the bones. These are beef bones that I had cut canoe style. And I'll just go ahead and put these right over the top. Shut the hatch. And we are cooking. I'm expecting that the bones will be fully roasted off 35, 45 minutes. Obviously the bacon will not take that long, so I'll be checking off camera periodically and I'll just pull the bacon when it's done. Anyway, see you guys in a bit. We are at 35 minutes and the bone marrow is completely roasted. Let's check it out. So it's nice and bubbly. I'm going to take the bones inside. I'm going to show you guys how we're going to make this compound butter. In the meantime, what I'm going to do on the cooker is just shut the dampers down just enough to keep the fire alive. But we're doing this just simply to preserve that lump charcoal in there. I'll meet you guys in the kitchen. Okay, as I told you out in the patio, and as the title implies, this has a bourbon butter. Basically, it's a very, very rich, like I said, decadent compound butter made with bourbon. We're going to start off with, this is 1/2 cup or a full stick of unsalted butter that I've had set out here at room temperature. Let it soften up a little bit. Cubed it up. Marrow from that bone. I have here 1 cup of crumbled gorgonzola cheese. So I made my bourbon reduction last night. What I have here was 3/4 cups of bourbon, 1/4 cup brown sugar, 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar, and a pinch of cayenne. I put this on the stovetop, brought it up to a boil, reduced it to a simmer, and this is that entire ingredient list reduced. It's less than 1/4 cup now. Add this and you can see this. And this is good. This is really, really good. It'd make a great glaze for pork. Now we're going to mix this up. And there we are. Put this off to the side. We're going to move on to the next step, which is actually forming the compound butter into a nice cylinder. All right, I have some plastic wrap laid out here, which I hate. By the way, it's a necessary evil, and I always end up wrestling with this stuff. I got lucky with it this time. I did. So we want to get this formed in here with your hands if you have to. Make sure you leave a nice tag at the end here, you know, extra saran wrap, plastic wrap. Just roll it. There we go, nice and tight. Okay, now I'm going to take this butter, place it in the freezer, allow it to set up so I can slice it into discs to place on top of the hamburger. And on that note, this stuff rocks a really good steak. I mean, it's, again, it just elevates this red meat to another level. Really good stuff. In the meantime, we are going to start forming that patty. I have my parchment paper laid out. I love using parchment whenever I'm forming a burger patty. I have that biscuit cutter ring thing. I buy these at, you know, craft stores, wherever they sell baking supplies. And here's the ground beef we're going to be using. This was a very nice ribeye steak. Once you've tried this, you'll understand why I did that. That being said, if you want to do this burger, you use whatever meat you want. I used a very coarse ground as far as the die on my grinder because I wanted to have kind of a steak feel when you're eating this. So let's go ahead and form this. As far as ring selection, I always just base it on the size of the bun that I'm using. Load this bad boy up. So we want to use enough pressure to get enough pack on this to where it's not going to disintegrate and fall apart on the grill. But you don't want to mash it to where it's, you know, like an emulsification, for lack of better words. Then you won't need to use that stupid thumb technique that I hate. Again, if you overwork the grind, the meat when you're forming the patty, or if you add a bunch of unnecessary binders like eggs and breadcrumbs and such, then you'll need to do that thumb thing. But if you do it this way, or you won't have to do that. It's not going to swell up. There'll be enough of that fat rendering out. There's going to be all sorts of little crannies and nooks for the juices to flow through without swelling the meat up. All right. I need a new ring too. This thing's looking pretty gnarly. Let's pull this off. Now one thing I like to do is, it has these sharp edges now. I just like to kind of round them off. See, this is a nice, healthy, thick patty. And you'll see there's no thumbprint in it, no depression, and it's not going to swell up. All right, get the burger patty in the fridge, let it kind of set up a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to drag all these cameras and lights and everything to my patio. Meet you guys out at the grill. Okay, we are ready to cook, and I adjusted those dampers just a little bit to where with the lid closed, the temperature came up and is holding it 450. But because I lit that fire right in the dead center, I still have a nice border of kind of some unlit lump, which I can use as kind of a safety zone so I don't have that, you know, those major flare-ups. And there's enough room, probably just using that perimeter, to cook 6, maybe 7 hamburgers. So let's get going. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this with some nice coarse kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper, And again, here's that hot fire right there. I'm just going to put it right here. Still hear that nice sizzle. A little bit more kosher salt. A little bit of ground black pepper. Let's get that lid closed. So I'm cooking this with the lid closed. I'm still going to get that great sear because it's hot. That's a hot fire below, but I'm using that convection to help me cook the interior of that really, really thick patty. See you on the flip. Let's go ahead and flip this thing. You see we've got all sorts of great moisture coming up the top, good color. A lot of smoke, excuse me for that, but check that out. Let's get those bacon slices on here. Get that puck of deliciousness. The lid closed. All right, you can see that compound butter is starting to melt now. Take some, this is brioche bread. Again, we're going over that butter theme. Buttered with just regular old salted butter. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice. So I'm just waiting for that compound butter to melt just a little bit more. And that's what I'm looking for. See how it's starting to break down now? Let's get this off. First thing we're going to do is lay down some butter lettuce. Now that beautiful patty, that smoky patty, and that grilled brioche bun. There we go. It's just simple and gorgeous. Now, for those of you who follow my burger series, I did a burger a while back. It was a copycat out of a restaurant in Toronto called the Stockyards. They have a butter burger, and this particular burger is influenced heavily from the copycat that I did on that burger. And to date, that is the best burger I've ever had. It's just, it's elevated simplicity. It's just really, really good, and I'm extremely excited about this. Let's give it there you go. Still nice and juicy. You can actually see a little smoke ring there. So I'm actually getting the bourbony flavor, but it's not really strong. But again, that bourbony flavor is coming out. A lot of smoky flavor. I mean, good wood smoky flavor in this patty. And again, that was some quality beef, and it's just really, really taking on that smoke so well, and yet that beefy flavor is still standing strong. Good burger. Again, I mean, bacon, I don't need to talk about bacon. Everybody loves bacon, and it does make this burger better. Do all these rhymes. The lettuce is there to keep everything from soaking through the bun, but it's butter lettuce, you know, whatever. Damn good burger. Very happy with this. And again, that the bourbon gorgonzola compound butter, killer on a steak. If you ever want to do like I said, a ribeye or something and elevate it, drop a pat of that on. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. I'll have a link down below for Primo if you want to check this thing out. Again, a lot of bang for the buck here with this cooker. See you in the next video. Keep those requests coming in. Cheers.